Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Milk the Cow. No, sorry, Cow Daily. It's not Milk the Cow podcast. When there's an interview, that's when it's Milk the Cow podcast. Anyway, back again. We weren't going to be doing one today, but you'll see why I am. I feel like I need to follow some things up with some people, so I am. That's what we're doing. So I will just do some of the housekeeping. If you want to support us directly, you can go to youtube.com/cowdaily. There's a community tab there, and we're moving some of the Facebook written posts and community posts and that kind of thing to there. Reason being, it helps with the algorithm, helps us grow the channel. And Facebook have been absolutely extracting the urine out of us for a long time. The amount of money they've made off us is a scandal. Seeing £0. So YouTube, that's where it's at. So please go to youtube.com/cowdaily. See the community tab, Facebook written post there. Good news. Also, if you would subscribe to this channel, youtube.com/cowdaily, always appreciated. And tell your friends and please share the stream. Thank you very much. Also, if you want to directly support our work, go up to patreon.com/cowdaily, patreon.com/cowdaily. Also, there's a link in the description for a one-off donation via PayPal, as somebody did yesterday. Thank you so much. I won't mention your name as you asked, but very much appreciated, mate. You give us a right old lift. Thank you very much. See who's in. Who's in? Joanne G's in. Good morning. Jez Hunt, good morning. Jacqueline's caught with a day. Really pleased, man. Morning, everyone. Morning, Mike. Morning, Joanne. She says, hello, everybody. Nice to see you in. As I say, we'll be going to a regular time from next week, so hopefully we'll gather the clans a bit more then. I do apologise for how sporadic it's been since the crash, but obviously health comes first, as I keep banging on about. But I do know some people get on this later on and be like, why hasn't he been doing podcasts? So I have to keep repeating it. Just the nature of the beast, isn't it? Right, what we got today. Bit of a fash clap back, really. Some people have been cheeky buggers and that. So also as well, people always say, well, what can we do? So I want to illustrate something I did today. And hopefully you will too, because I think the more with that do it, the more chance we have of anything happening. But I'll talk you through why it might not also. So this happened at the weekend. This is in the Mail on Saturday, I think it was. Peter Hitchens, Christopher Hitchens' brother, he loves that. This is the maddest headline, man. End this crude smear against conservatives. Hitler's Nazis were in fact left-wing racists. This is like everywhere at the moment, and they're saying it with their whole chest. I mean, Hitchens is a troll, right? Like, look, he just knows how to get attention, and he's very proficient at it. You can look into the type of stuff that he does come out with, which is just madness. But he knows how to carve a lane, and as we saw with his whole thing about like Mr. Anti-Lockdown, when it came time to travel and take vaccines and things like that, which personally speaking, I think was a rational thing to do. He did it after railing against them the whole time and then got sprung and then came out with some like mealy mouth crap about like, well, this is the only way I can see me family. Aye, but you were literally leading these fools off a cliff like a lemon, but you were pulling back at the end and letting them run over. And that's what these people do. So really, this debate for me, and I've kept sharing this with people because it's riddled on our social media as well, others as well. Dorset I let me know this morning that they're getting it too. So anyway, on screen, hmd.org.uk, that's the Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. The tagline, learn from genocide for a better future. So it says here, political opponents and trade unionists. On assuming power in 1933, the first people the Nazis targeted for arrest and imprisonment were political opponents, primarily communists, trade unionists, and social democrats. Dachau, the first Nazi concentration camp, was built in March 1933 to imprison political opponents. The Communist Party, the KPD, was banned in March 1933. Trade unions were disbanded in May, and the Social Democrats, the SPD, abolished in June. Leaders of these parties and unions were arrested or fled into exile. So by the end of 1933, there were almost 27,000 people imprisoned in concentration camps, and the majority of these were political prisoners. For more information, read I Am Healthy and I Feel Fine, the collected letters of Marianne Sojersky, who was held as a political prisoner in Auschwitz. And so that should have been it. But you share this with people and they just ignore it. Well, I'll give you an example of somebody later on, which is just the maddest thing ever. And other things for you as well, pal. So it wasn't though, was it? And this is weird to me, right? Because like these are solid sources that we should hear. The Holocaust Education Trust, right? But they're just ignoring it and they're plowing on with socialists, we're Nazis, and it's just clown world. But also, we shouldn't just laugh at this. This is mad dangerous, and this is like shown throughout history. And those who know, those who have been tuning in, and hello to a lot of new people, go back to some of the previous episodes of the folder, just simply called fascism. There's plenty in there which talks about the international network of fascists, simply called the movement. It talks about people like Steve Bannon and their influence in this kind of thing. Their stated aim is to change the meaning of words. We've been talking about this for as long as Cow Daily's been a thing. Now we see it. Mr. Cow predicts, not really. I mean, there's no prediction. It's just this is what they do. But who would have thought they would have been so naked about it? And who would have thought a national newspaper, even the Mail, would carry something so crazy as that, especially after 2015 to 2019? But maybe's, yeah. Well, welcome to the 2023 and freedom of speech. Yeah. So anyway, this is from the United States Holocaust Museum. I'm going to read the bit that's circled in red. Despite the reference to socialism and workers in the party's name, Hitler promoted National Socialism as the complete opposite of socialism and communism. It goes on. He promoted it as an ideology devoted to, it's a bit covered there, centralized the power, welfare and power, a national ethnic group defined by its supposed race. The party developed a 25-point platform based on nationalism, anti-Semitism, and expansion. The program also called for the overturn of the Treaty of Versailles to advance their agenda. The party formed paramilitary units called the SA. So it should have been over after the first source, but it should definitely be over after this, and it's not. And why, oh, why have we got the people that were attacking Jeremy Corbyn, some of them coming out like fucking like attacking Lineker and calling him an anti-Semite because of some Hamas tweet, which honestly, man, we've got a problem. And the problem is that things are all mixed up and mashed up, and that's intentional by the people who seek to do so. The top of it is, what else do we do about this? Especially when this from 1934 by Viscount Rothermere, the owner of the Mail, and look at the continued ownership since then. Hurrah for the black shirts. The first line is, because fascism comes from Italy, people shouldn't be short-sighted in this country to show sturdy national spirit by deriding it. I mean, not basically, they are caping up for fascism here in the 1930s, and that shouldn't come as any surprise. I mean, I always reach for the Batman and Robin meme. But Hitler was a social oof, says Robin. He banned unions and put socialists in Dachau, you mad fucking gimp, says Batman. Listen, when it gets to the level of a Batman meme slapping up Robin, you can see the absolute numbness and stupidity and dumbassery of this whole. I can't even believe I'm talking. Why are we talking about this? Like, let's cut through the shit here. Why should we be talking about this shit? It's madness, man. The Nazis were socialists, and there's so many people taking this seriously. I mean, we used to laugh at it a couple of years ago on the social media and just take the piss and have a laugh with it. We can't do that anymore. We can't. Like, this is dangerous stuff because it's in mainstream media and it's being accepted as a fact. crazy as all hell, right? Madness. So what I think we should do at this point, I'm just going to throw something up for you. Hitchens didn't just say this in the Mail and it was printed. Talk TV, right? Like GB News' so-called competitor in radicalizing your nana. Check this out on Mike Graham's show. Mike Graham being the guy who interviewed somebody from Just Stop Oil and claimed that wood isn't a renewable source of building materials. What do you even do? But anyway, this is the same guy who somehow has a platform and he's talking to this other guy who somehow has a platform and is being taken seriously. Check this out, man.
To the Nazis. And I countered this by saying that, in fact, the Nazis were left-wing racists. And some people amazingly accuse me of trying to excuse the Nazis by saying this, as if by me saying the Nazis were left-wing, you'd think I was saying that they were nice. Not what my intention was at all.
Absolute raj packets, man. Absolutely mental. And this is on a regulated TV channel, show, whatever you want to call the thing. I struggle to see how any of this type of stuff is journalism. Let us not miss our chance to undermine Keir Starmer today. This is Labour's messaging. Labour will clear the Tory backlog of asylum claims and end hotel use. At GRC 1921, one of the better accounts on Twitter, please follow them, says there was a 5-year campaign of destruction to return Labour to this. The Labour are just being better managers of fascism, and that's their messaging. Once the Lineker stuff starts wearing off, and it's out of the news cycle, see what they do. Watch what they're doing in Parliament as well. So anyway, what have I done about this? Because this is the whole point, isn't it? I reported the Daily Mail and Peter Hitchens to IPSO, which is the Independent Press Standards Organisation. I am a massive grass. Proper Alfie. I've Alfied a lot of them. Don't give a shit, though, because this, I've never done this in my life, right? This is just beyond the pale even for me. I mean, imagine trying to claim that the Nazis were socialists or left wing in any way. It is crazy talk, but people are believing it. And do I think IPSO will do anything about it? Well, thanks to Hacked Off for this information this morning. Check out hackinginquiry.org. What it says here is they've an analysis of IPSO rulings in 2020. A new Hacked Off report examines IPSO rulings over a 1-year period in 2020 and exposes how, after 7 years, IPSO has failed to establish itself as an effective regulator. These are the key findings from the report. You can read the full report on hackinginquiry.org. Shouts to Nathan, the CEO. He's a good man, and he's really fighting the good fight. So big up him personally as well. Shouts to the rest of the staff team. I just don't know yet. Shouts to Nathan. So among the key findings, it took almost 6 months on average for IPSO to reach a ruling on complaints. Only 0.3% of complaints were ultimately upheld. More than 1,000 complaints were abandoned. Corrections requested by IPSO were on average 7 times shorter than the article in breach of standards. 0 fines, 0 investigations, and 0 arbitration outcomes were reported. Ever, not just for 2020. That's ever. 0 fines, 0 investigations, and 0 arbitration outcomes were reported. Now, we also know that the board has a bit of a conservative bias. Go and check it out for yourself. And if you wish, go and look into their backgrounds. So I have an issue here. I've obviously reported it. Do I think anything's going to happen? Well, clearly not. But that's not the point. And I suggest everybody else does it too. We have to log these complaints and we have to use it as just one tactic in, I can't believe I'm saying this, reestablishing the fact that the Nazis were fascists. Can you believe this? This is 2023. This is a clown show, man. How on earth are we sitting up here having to do this? Not even do it again. Talk about the rewriting of history, man. It's absolute. What do you even say? Let's see what you're saying in the comments, though. Let's see what is being said. Jez is saying, it's got socialist in the name. I and the conservatives are. He's saying also you can't blame the right for not wanting to be associated with the Nazis, but if they don't like Nazis, then maybe they shouldn't have those leanings. I'm sure the Nazis are sad about it too. Indeed. Jacqueline is saying, if the Nazis were left wing, why was Rothermere showing such support for the Nazis when he hated the left wing? Absolutely spot on. Yeah, runs in. Good morning from the Netherlands. Nice one. Big up yourself. I was in the Netherlands in the summer. My partner's got family in the Netherlands, and I love the Netherlands. Not just because of the weed. I didn't really smoke weed. Hash for me. Dry sift and that. Thanks for supplying that to the world. But also just that I like the country. I like the people because they're mad straightforward too. Are you Dutch, mate? All the best to you as well. And nice to have you here too. Right. Hold on a minute. But StreamYard now allows me to take it out. Zoe's saying, aye, conservatives conserve. Well, isn't it though? It's crazy. It is a crazy time that we're living in. But here we are living in it. And I just can't believe it. So anyway, back to the rest. So this, from the front page of the Daily Express the other day, Suella orders woke police to protect free speech. Aye, it'll be your free speech because you've been sprung. All these have been sprung. And we know this from Toby Young's so-called free speech union and all of this other bad faith carry on that these people want to be coming out with. Suella orders the woke police to protect free speech only if her allies are saying it. If it's people like us saying it, saying what we want, watch what happens. Like, I keep referencing it. Look at the ban we got for 2 weeks leading into the 2019 election, which ended at 1 minute past 10 after the polls closed. Absolutely and utterly mad, especially considering we had a larger circulation online than the Sun newspaper in 2017. So, free speech for all, is it? Don't think so. They've all been sprung. And this is the mad thing. It's also showing Labour and other centrist melt liberals up for what they are, because what they're showing clearly that they're just caping for fascism whilst seeing which way the wind blowed and getting their talking heads out to go, oh, isn't Lineker lovely? Whilst doing nothing to stop this. So anyway, I showed you the Mike Graham clip before. After this, I am reporting them to Ofcom, which I hope has more teeth, but I don't know at this point because the show needed to happen. So I suggest you do it too. Go to the Ofcom website, complaints, send one in. Go to the IPSO website, complaints, send one in. Like, let's all do it. Let's tell your mates to do it because this is madness, man. We can't allow this to continue. Not even a bit of it, in fact. Like, none of this is okay. And as we've seen by history, once the definition of things is changed and the scapegoats are targeted, it starts happening. Jail starts happening. I mean, look at the crime and the police and crime bill that the Tories have brought in and the punitive measures towards activists, just like you and I and others. It's not great. So we need to do something about it. Simple as that. So please do go to Ofcom and make a complaint, and be a dirty little grass like me. So Talk TV just on the way out. Oh God, my tablet alarm's going off. It's actually my tablet alarm this time. I'm getting on the meds, getting myself sorted. So background of Talk TV. Oh, there he is, Rupert Murdoch, running a loss leader for international billionaire libertarian fash sound. So Talk TV marks Rupert Murdoch's return to British television news after being forced to sell Sky News to preserve its editorial independence from his companies. Interesting how he's basically just set up another news channel. How did that work? Don't know. Who knows? So anyway, things we can do, and look, I get it. It's a little bit like disgruntled of Tunbridge Wells is not really what we're down with, but send some complaints in and let us know what happens, because obviously once the procedure ends, I'll not be reporting on anything that I'm hearing from them. It actually says in it, don't do it, because they'll throw the complaint out. So that'll not be happening. But when there's an adjudication, I'm allowed to bring it onto here. So you'll probably get yours at the same time. So it'll be good to do a show just like, because they're not going to do anything, are the IPSO? like hacked off is shown where, like, from their study what the actual crack is. But it's worth doing it just so we can actually expose this. I'd like to think they would. I mean, it's such an open goal, and give me like calling the Nazis left wing. I mean, it should be. There's a couple of solid sources from the Holocaust Educational Trust and the US Holocaust Museum, and that should be over with. But it's not, because may I be so bold, it's right wing people saying it. Anyway, let's move on. See what a couple of comments we got before we move on to this next bit. Just want to do a bit of like sort of positive hope stuff. I'm trying to do that every day, you know. Jez is saying, wait, so I'm both a Nazi and a communist. Jacqueline says, I just saw those headlines and thought, ha, I knew it was a £5 bill, but then I thought it's the Daily Express and not exactly reliable. Sound. Right. Gonna just move on to, actually, no, I'll say this first. I don't believe in the supernatural, but I swear to God that Murdoch is a vampire, says Jacqueline. Hey, I can't say anything, but who knows? I've seen True Blood, could be. Thank you to Ash Patterson Bellis, who got in touch and it just cheered us up. And it's like that. I want to do like some nice, let's call it the mailbag, shall we? Because people always like contact with the things. So on screen for audio people, doors at, it's for a gig, doors at 8 p.m, free entry, Ketamine Car, Wednesday the 15th of March, surprise headline at the New Adelphi Club with support from Foulmouth and more. Ash Patterson Bells thinks, I had to look twice at this. I was really thinking, has he really changed the direction of the podcast? Strangely enough, right? Our old nights weren't too dissimilar, but no, we haven't. That's nothing to do with us. But big up if this was like some kind of moderately cynical attempt to get some free promo for your gig. I respect the hustle, and if it is, sound. Big up this lad who wanted to remain anonymous and got in touch. Sent you £20. Please don't mention my name. I'll let you be the famous one. Hey, dude, that's not what I want. It's about the information. Yeah, you're doing an amazing job, and I agree with everything you say. Keep up the good work. Hey, mate, thanks. And like, it's stuff like that that like really does get us right there in the heart. And thank you so much for your direct support, man. That's really, really valuable and on loads of different ways for us at the minute, and specifically me. So thanks, mate. But I did still want to acknowledge you on the show. So thanks for letting us know you wanted to do that anon before I went ahead and did it, because I wouldn't want to do that. And you'll have your reasons for wanting to remain anon. So thank you, mate. All the very best to you. Buzzing about this too. Really pleased to let you know that Alice Wolf, aka Punk Food Bandita, is up for getting the band back together for the Cow Daily King's Coronation Watch Along. Only Alice can be trusted to bring the correct amount of respect and reverence to the proceedings. And for me, if we're going to get black bagged, then it might as well be in a blaze of glory. And trust me, the return of Alice, it will be. I can't imagine doing that particular show with anybody else. So I was buzzing when she says yes. Send some good healing vibes her way. She's still really wheezy, and she copped COVID again recently. So I send her some love and all of that. And she's one of the best people around, as you are fully aware. We'll also be bringing other people into the King's Coronation live stream. If you want to suggest anybody who you think might want to do like 5-10 minutes, the basic crack is we'll have like split screen, and in one screen we'll have the procession and the whatever it is. There's when they put the crown on his head or whatever it is, and we'll be doing really respectful commentary and bringing on guests who will also be doing really respectful commentary, and that'll be us respecting. And if you want to get involved, it's one like equals one respect for the king. Shouts to @rantingpeanut on Twitter. Top podcasts in no particular order for anyone who hates the fashion like spooky shit. @MTC Podcast, Milk the Cow. Shouts to Kev J. Eustace for the dark paranormal and talk about ghosts as one count as one opus of horror. Shouts to Kev, and thanks to Rant and Peanut Kelly for the shout out. It just helps to reach new people, obviously, and it's just massively appreciated when it happens. It just like really feels validating, you know what I mean? Like people actually like what we do and believe in what we do and want other people to see what we do. There's loads of different ways of supporting, all the way from Patreon, PayPal, liking, sharing, subscribing, all of that, and doing things like this. Nice messages as well. It just means a lot to us. And do you know what it is? Instead of just hiding them or keeping them to myself, I'm going to share them, because like, we don't want to just talk about like dark stuff on here. Like, I want to spread the light, and there's so much that does come my way. And I recognize I talk a lot about like people that are extracting the urine, to put it bluntly, and not enough about the majority of people like this. So thank you, Kelly at Rant and Peanut. Give her a follow. This one as well was an interesting one, and I just wanted to read the whole thing out actually, because Perry C. Robin here actually made us think about and reflect on the work that we've been doing these past few months. Anyway, I'll read it and it'll become clear when I read it out. So Perry says, "It's mad how the last few months I've watched you shift to describe actual class politics without actually using old school Marxist terminology. There's no such thing as left and right. There's workers, bourgeoisie, and rulers. Middle and upper were terms made up by the ruling class to make workers ashamed to identify themselves as workers. They aren't real. The bourgeois, the Lineker, as you correctly assert, may talk about the plight of the poor, but when the chips are down, they will never actively challenge society's structure because they know which side their bread is buttered." Absolutely spot on that, and history shows this, Perry. He goes on, "The workers' one historical method of wielding any power in this country. The unions have been neutered by Labour," again spot on, "which has been taken over by bougie ideology and led by a man enthralled to the ruling class and its institutions." There's no like evidential basis to refute anything Perry's saying here. It's like you can try, but it would be delusion and or a lie. So Perry goes on, "Any threat to status quo has the entire weight of the ruling class's tools thrown against it. We did see it in 2015 to 2019. In the past, this was the press, then the army, but the media is so effective this century they don't need to be as overt. You have reactionaries, the fash, to do their violence for them if it comes to it, rather than modern Peterloos. People who don't know Peterloo, the Peterloo massacre, that actually was the trigger to start the Manchester Guardian, which went on to be the Guardian now. People behind the Guardian now should be absolutely ashamed of themselves because they're compromised media as well after Alan Rusbridger was lent on during the Assange thing. Anyway, one thing I'd like to point out as well, he's saying the media is so effective this century they don't need to be as overt without being on some grift. If you want to actually help to turn that around, this is why we're doing it. So patreon.com/cowdaily, fund us. Somebody got in touch right the other day, and this was their choice, nothing we said, and became a patron and took their money away from the Peace and Justice Corbyn's thing. Now, I'm not saying you should do that if you are doing it, but what they said was it was because they wanted action, and I understand where you're coming from. So whatever your reasons could be, it would be valued and used to do this work. And to make sure this work can continue, because there's no guarantee it can. And that's just a sad fact. So patreon.com/cowdaily if you want to support the work. Like the anonymous gentleman yesterday wanted to be, PayPal if you want to make a one-off donation to the work. And that was mad appreciated too yesterday. Just gives us a lift every day because it's a bloody slog at the minute, like, and I'm sure it is all for you. Anyway, back to this. I responded to Perry, and the reason I want to read this out is as I say, I thought about what he said, and I was like, right, well, where am I at with this, and what do I think? So I replied, "Cheers, brother. I really appreciate your kindness and agree largely with your summing up. I'm straight up sick of people talking shite about dusty old philosophers whose heads would come off today in 2023 if they had to analyze this landscape. We can take good bits from their work, but we must understand. Psychology, to use an example, is based on the work of Freud, but generations of thinkers have evolved his work whilst respecting the good bits of his foundational work. The career left feeds into this, and when it's relating to politics, in terms of old philosophers like Marx, etc., in my view. And I should define what the career left is. People, there's a merry-go-round of jobs, right? And I'm immediately probably debarring myself from any of those jobs, but what can you do? I'm also skinned, but I don't care. Truth important. So the career left feeds into this, as it is in its interest to keep people in the dusty old philosopher mind prison. It is because if people still come to all of these things, then they have a job. So whether it's a subconscious thing or not, they're still promoting this as a full-on article of faith, Marxism, be all and end all, done. It's 2023. I fully disagree. Anyway, I go on this piece. We need to be more Buckminster filler and less Marx. So the quote I'm going to share in the image informs pretty much our work as a movement. In my opinion, if it should, at least, we need to encourage the new generation, support when needed, and stand aside when required as they build this new model. I firmly believe that, man. If young people want us to give any support or advice or guidance before we get out the way, then I'd be honoured. But young people are the future. So anyway, Buckminster Fuller, go and check him out, futurist philosopher. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. So change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. If people don't stop slamming doors downstairs, I'll be looking for a new relationship. Just joking. Or am I? So anyway, one other thing before I go, right? Leon Edwards is defending his title that he won unbelievably against arguably the best fighter ever, Kamaru Usman. It's at the weekend. It's in London. And please get behind him. He's a lovely man. He's understated. He's not like one of these big gobshites like Conor McGregor. And he can fight his face off. And the background he had, his dad was murdered when he was 14. He's come up in the trenches, man. And he's such a lovely, lovely individual. And please support him. For me, I get great joy out of watching martial arts, and that might sound mad to you, but this is the thing that I do to switch off. And I see the honor, and I see the people like Leon Edwards that should have our support as a British athlete. And he's just went under the radar because he's not a big talker. But I swear, what a lovely lad, and the work that he does in his community in Birmingham, second to none. So big up Leon Edwards, and please, if you want to support the kid, the other fight underneath, Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev, that's got bloodthirsty banger written all over it, the whole cards class. So just get on it. Also, I'll take some of your comments and then we'll get off, and I've got things to do. Big 62 Boom One in the house. Morning. Get Jez on the Coronation show. He loves the Royals. Jez, do you want to come on the Coronation show? Saturday, May the 6th, mate. You'd be more than welcome. Hop on for 10 minutes, half an hour, out you like, pal. We'll be on in probably a few hours on that day. So get involved, get amongst it. So we'd love to have you on because I think you would be hilarious. Jacqueline's saying, Alice, yay. I'll pass that on. She might even be watching. I don't know. Hello, Alice, if you're here watching. Pop up in the comments if you are. Probably at walk there, aren't you? So yes, that's the latest the latest thing about like the craziness of fascism. Please report these people to bloody Ofcom and Ipso. I just, what, man? Like, the Nazis were socialists now, apparently, being printed in a national newspaper, bold-faced with the whole chest. Hurrah for the black shirts, they continue to say in ever more sophisticated ways in 2023. Back in the 30s, they just said it. Now they say it in very, very different ways, but ultimately, it means the same thing. Because if they can tell us, right, if they can tell us that we are the baddies, much like that Peep Show meme, then what happens next? History shows it. So there's one thing I want to say to you, right? The Fash have been training in martial arts for years. That's all I have to say. So don't think that, God, man, I can't say anymore, but like, if you want to train in martial arts around the Newcastle area, go to Newcastle Fighters. They're really good people. They're definitely not fascists. Also, there's a guy, Newcastle Fight Centre, who is like full-on anti-fascist, got anti-fascist tattoos. Great bloke. There's 2 places in Newcastle. Let me know, and we'll share these things if there are places that you know of. There's a jiu-jitsu gym called I can't remember what they've called it, but it's Joe Glenton. Works for Canary. Used to be been on the show. Used to be in the army. Wrote the book Veteranhood. He as one in Liverpool. So he again another one, and that's like somebody you've got to actually apply to join. So there's no like, oh, that was it, crank free jiu-jitsu. That's what it is. Class name, isn't it? So spot on. A few more before we leave. and HC, I'll come on and talk about when I worked at Windsor Castle. Sound, inboxes, and we'll get it sorted for me the 6th. Nice one. B62 Boom 1, do it, Jez. Do it for Wales. Come on, Jez, do it for Wales. Right. Best get off. Only intended to do 15 minutes today, but on with went. I just think it's important we get this stuff out because anti-fascism is important. It's just always going to be important. And listen, I'm not hiding. Here's me face. Fuck every fascist. Every single one of you, whether you fucking want to call yourselves that or you don't. Or you want to hide behind all of this fucking Nazis were socialist bollocks or you don't. Especially you, giving it the big one from Leeds. You. Anyway, please subscribe to youtube.com/cowdaily. Don't be afraid of fascists. Thanks. If you want to support the work, patreon.com/cowdaily. Link in the description for PayPal for a one-off donation. Don't ever be frightened of fascists. Ever. And we've got to build our own institutions, and that's why I'm turning up here every day, because if the mainstream media, right, are broadcasting this Nazis were socialist thing, independent media is now more important than ever, and I'm more committed to this than I've ever been. So, yeah, please meet us there and support what we're doing, because if we do that, we can win. If we can control part of the narrative with truth, facts, and good faith, then we can win. Because one of the problems between 2015 and 2019 was the narrative was absolutely not under our control. And I honestly think the leaders of the movement there were absolute divvies. Like, we should have these things set up. 2 seconds though. I've just got to plug this in. Bear with us. Come here, don't let me lose this entire thing. Never, ever do a show when you haven't plugged the laptop in, because you lose your entire work. Fortunately, I just saved it there. Happy days. Anyway, love to all. Don't be afraid of this stuff. Again, if we pull together on every level, we're going to win. Also, as well, just sorry for all the sniffing I've been doing. I've realised watching these back, I've had the sniffles all winter. Hopefully it hasn't spoiled your enjoyment of our dissection of the fascist dystopia. Anyway, leave this on my way out for you. Bye.
Fuck Keir Starmer! Fuck Keir Starmer!